Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, name 933, is Ananta-sri. The previous name was Ananta-rupa, which means he who has unlimited forms. And Ananta-sri means who has unlimited Sri, unlimited wealth, power, glory, etc. We often hear that Bhagavan is unlimited. Let's try to think, what does that mean, unlimited? It's inconceivable. This important word, achintya, means inconceivable. What are these photo people? Why, they didn't just sit down. Disturbance. What does it mean by inconceivable? How big a number can you think of? You can think of 1 apple, 2 apples. Try to picture in your mind 20 apples, 100 apples, 1,000 apples. How can you picture it in your mind? 1,000 apples? How much would that be? What about 1,000,000 apples? We can't, if we think, I'm going to make a picture in my mind of 1,000,000 apples, how much would that be? How much space would that take? It gets beyond our region of being able to conceive of. But 1,000,000 is a very small number in comparison to infinity. Even 10 to the power of 1,000,000 is a very small number in comparison with infinity, and we can't even begin to think what 10 to the power of 1,000,000 is. It's just too much for us to even begin to we just can't figure it in our minds. So when we say that Bhagavan has infinite forms and infinite qualities, we just have to accept that we can only understand him within a very limited range. How great he is. Ananta-sri means he has unlimited wealth, glories, power. And the commenting Vaishnava acharyas, they explain this. Parashara Bhatta, the first Sri Vaishnava commentator on Vishnu Sahasranama, whose commentary is, as you could imagine, very devotional, bringing out the devotion, bringing out the personal qualities of the Supreme Lord, by which he interacts with his devotees and nourishes them and protects them and cares for them and loves them. Parashara Bhatta particularly brings out in his commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama, he brings out the Lord's quality of Vatsalya, whereas the previous to him commentator Shankaracharya tends to bring out the glory of the Lord, his greatness, his power, his majesty, his opulence. So Parashara Bhatta says that, yes, he has unlimited wealth, opulence, glory, power, and so on. What does he do with it? What for? What's the point? He has all this simply to please his devotees, to serve his devotees. It's all at the command of Bhagavan, and he uses it all simply for the benefit of his devotees. He's willing to give everything to them, including himself. Krishna Shobhav Bhakter Naloy Aparad Alpa Sheva Bahumane Ata Prajanto Prasad. This is summarized in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that it is the very nature of the Krishna that if his devotees do something which might otherwise be considered an offense, he doesn't take it very seriously. But if they do a little service, he feels himself so indebted to them, he can give everything to them, including himself, up to and including himself. An example is given here because Parashar Bhatta has been explaining the previous so many names in Visnu-sahasranama in relation to the Gajendra Moksha Lila, the deliverance of Gajendra, that Bhagavan gave to Gajendra what he desired. What did Gajendra desire? Well, it could be said that the manifest thing that he desired was to be freed from the distress of being caught by a crocodile. But the acharyas analyze that he, in this horrific situation, Gajendra had remembrance of his previous life, and therefore he didn't take this situation. He was a great self-realized person, so he didn't take this biting by the crocodile very seriously, but he was very serious that he wanted to serve the Supreme Lord. So he plucked a lotus from the lake and offered it to Narayana, and Narayana fulfilled his desire by accepting the lotus. This Gajendra Leela is generally taken that Krishna will deliver you from all difficulties. And that's true, and it's a prime example of that. That when the time is right, it took a long time, it was 1,000 celestial years he was in the water. So often our devotees, they think, oh, I'm undergoing so much suffering, why doesn't Krishna deliver me? And he'll deliver you, just wait for 1,000 celestial years. You may think, I don't want to wait so long, but he will deliver us. Why did he take so long? Well, he was waiting for that consciousness to arise in the jiva who was inhabiting the body of Gajendra, that actually I'm meant for serving Narayana, not meant for taking boons from him. For what did he want? He wanted to be released from the crocodile so he could go back to the maya of being Gajendra, to the maya of being the great powerful elephant who's protecting all the other elephants. And then he got realization. And he had to serve Narayan. How do you serve Narayan if you're being bitten by a crocodile? Well, Gajendra, he was able to do it. Patrang pushpang palam tayam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatat manaha. If you offer me fruit, flower, leaf or water with love, Krishna says, I will accept it. So he offered a flower. I guess he couldn't offer the water because it was contaminated by his blood. So he offered a flower, because the lotus is above the water. So he offered a lotus. And the Supreme Lord, out of his great magnanimity, his wealth, his opulence of magnanimity, he accepted that, and he delivered Gajendra. He delivered Indradyumna Maharaj, or the Jiva who had been in the body of Indradyumna and who then went in the body of Gajendra. He delivered him from that body and delivered him all the way to Vaikuntha and gave him all the wealth of Vaikuntha. He welcomes the Jivas into Vaikuntha. Previously, the previous series of names was in terms of the Archirardi Marga, the path by which the devotees become delivered from material existence and can go to Vaikuntha. So all the wealth of Vaikuntha is offered to the devotees. You enjoy it with me. But of course, they're interested only in serving Bhagavan. In this regard, we find in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita a discussion between Sarup Damodar and Srivas Thakur. Srivas was taking the position of a supporter of Lakshmi, and Sarup Damodar was not just taking the position, but he's defending the position of Vrindavan. So Srivas, as what's called in English the devil's advocate, was taking the position that actually our Lakshmi is much more opulent than our Lakshmi in Vaikuntha is more opulent than your Vrindavan. In Vrindavan there are simply twigs and trees and flowers and grass. But Swarup Damodar explained that the opulence of Vrindavan far surpasses that of Vrindavan. And the greatest opulence is that people are not that much interested in all the opulence. They're interested in the flowers, the twigs, the trees, and the grass, because that is just the situation which is most suitable for satisfying Radha and Krishna, the opulence of love exchanged between them. Another meaning that can be taken out of this is that Shri, Lakshmi, she is the very personification of wealth. But he is unlimitedly more to Lakshmi than any wealth. He is her wealth. He is the wealth of wealth personified. In this regard, we can quote from the Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya, in which he asks, in verse 12, he asks a series of rhetorical questions. Kashri Shriyaha, that's the first one. That's the first question, which is the one which is particularly appropriate to the discussion of the name Ananta-sri. Kashri Shriya Paramasattva Samashraya Kaha Kaf Pundarika Nayanaf Purushottama Kaha Kas Ya Yuta Yuta Shataika Kalang Shakang Se Vishvang Vichitra Chirachit Pravibhaga Ritam. Who is Shri for Shri? Kas Shri Shriyaha. She's known as Shri. She is the wealth for everything. But who or what is wealth for her? Who is the Paramasattva Samashraya Kaha? Who is the deity? Who is the embodiment of all of the Paramasattva, pure goodness? Who is the abode of pure goodness? Who is the one with eyes like a lotus? Who is the best of all Purushas, enjoyers, males? Who is the one by whom, of whom a fraction of a 100 million millionth part of whose power this whole universe, consisting of, from our vision, innumerable planets and innumerable living beings, by a tiny fraction of whose power is all this created, protected, maintained and destroyed. The question is not answered, but the answer is obvious. We're talking here about Narayana. So in this verse, we have a clue into the meaning of Ananta, him by whom a fraction of 100 million millionth part, this whole universe is created. Of his power, this whole universe is created, maintained and destroyed. And who is Sri for Sri? Who is opulence, beauty, wealth for she who is the very form of opulence, beauty and wealth? That is Narayana. Shankaracharya in his commentary takes Sri to mean Shakti. And thus he gives the meaning, Ananta aparimita Shrihi para Shakti asya iti Ananta-sri. He has infinite power and glory because he possesses innumerable high-level potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhavaki Jnana Bala Kriya Cha, as stated in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. He has innumerable potencies, never diminishing. We can study in physics if there is some energy being transmitted, it diminishes in potency. That's why we don't want to have our house underneath a tower. These towers for the, cell phones and internet. I mean, at some distance, because if you're right underneath it, you get microwaved. But if you're at some distance, okay. The power doesn't actually decrease, but its influence decreases in time and distance. But Krishna's powers aren't like that. His knowledge, his wealth, his ability to do things, it never decreases. He is, we had that, the Jivanam, that verse came up, Tejas Tejas Vinamaham, that he is the power behind all power. Wherever there is power, that's him. Can you show me God? People ask. But they don't know even to say that question, even to articulate those words. They have to take power from him whose existence they deny. What ambition we have. I want to do something. We can do something if we're allowed to do, if we're endowed with the power to do so. Tiny, tiny, tiny fraction. of his infinite power, we can become a big man in this world. We can become maybe the leader of a nation. In the world at the present time, there are some famous names like Biden and Putin and Modi and that guy over in China whose name, how do you pronounce it? Xi or something? Anyway, whatever. They're powerful people. The Prime Minister or President of Bhutan is not very powerful. But the leaders of big nations, they're very powerful. People take seriously what they do. Their position compared to ordinary people like us is certainly very great. But we should know that they are getting that power from just the tiniest fraction of the unlimited power who is Ananta-sri, Ananta-shakti, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Avinashi, that's another meaning. Ananta means it doesn't have any end, so it's not destructible. He has wealth, power, glory, beauty, and so on, which is never destroyed. Satyasandha Tirtha is was a Madhva Sampradaya commentator on Visnu-sahasranama, and he also, although Shankara, who is a Advaitin, who the Madhvas very much oppose, but nevertheless he took Satyasandha Tirtha, accepting Shankara's interpretation that Ananta-sri means Ananta-shakti, unlimited powers. He accepted that and he combined it with the understanding that Ananta here means indestructible. So he gave the meaning Nasha Rahita Shrihi Swarupa Shrihi Yasya Sa Ananta Shrihi. He whose glories, powers, wealth, and so on are by their very nature eternal and indestructible. Satyasandha Tirtha comments that the three main potencies or shaktis of the Lord that we see demonstrated in this world are his Ichha Shakti. Just by his desire, everything happens. His Kriya Shakti. He has we may have desire, but we cannot actualize it. But he has the power to do as he likes. And his Jnana Shakti, his Shakti of knowledge. Actually, if I say Jnana Shakti, because you all know Indian languages, because you're Indian, you can follow what is meant. But to say it in English is a bit difficult. So Jnana, to express it, is a little difficult. So Jnana Shakti, his potency of knowledge by which we can understand, or if he desires, we won't understand. Sometimes I have this often myself. I'm thinking of something, I just can't get the word, I can't remember the verse. Apohanam cha, forgetfulness also comes from him. Matasmriti jnanam apohanam cha. From me, Krishna says, comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So Satyasandha Tirtha says that analyzing this, we can see how the Supreme Lord's potencies in this world are manifested at the physical level, Kriya Shakti, the mental level, Icha Shakti, and the intellectual level, Jnana Shakti. So Satya Sandha Tirtha, he comments that the interaction of these three Shaktis, Bhagavan's desire, his knowledge, and his ability to actualize things, his Kriya Shakti, his power by which things get done or things happen. The continuous interplay of these three Shaktis makes the world run on. We know from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes his separated material energies, Bhumirapana vayo kangmano buddhirevacha hankara itiyang me bhinna prakritir ashtadha. His 8 material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, then aparayam itastvanyang prakriting vidhime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Then Krishna says there is the superior energy of the jivas by which the whole world, the whole universe is maintained. But that is ultimately going on under his supervision. Not that the jivas are independent. How the jivas interact with this material potency, how does it go on? Etad yonini bhutani sarvaniti upadharya aham kritsnasya jagata prabhava pralayastata. It's all going on, everything, the creation, maintenance, destruction, it's all going on by his supervision. Maya dhakshena prakritihi suyate sachara. He says the same thing again. That it's all going on by his supervision. All the energies, all the powers, they're all interacting. Whew, that's a complex job. What kind of engineering degree do you have to be able to supervise the whole universe? Whew. Must be really busy. What's Krishna doing? He's dancing in Vrindavan. That's pretty irresponsible, isn't it? When you have a big job, the whole universe is running on and he's just dancing. Anyway. Parasya shaktiya vividhai varshuyate swabhavaki jnana bala kriyacha. They run on by his desire. Everything is running on. Brahma, you look after this. Shiva, you look after this. Indra, you look after this. Okay, behave yourselves. He lets them all do it. It makes them think, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. He's doing it. For him it's easy. Sometimes the atheists, they argue, well, why did God make the world so complicated? Why did he make it so complicated? But for him it's not complicated. For him it's easy. Because he has unlimited intelligence. Baladev Vidyabhushan, our Gauriya commentator, he says that he is an Ananta-sri because he appears in this world, but not like us. We come in this world and we're trying to get something. We're all trying to get something. Someone's waiting for 100 crores business proposal, hoping to get it. Someone is hoping to get a job, government job. 5 posts, 50,000 applicants. we're trying to get something. But he doesn't. Everything is with him. When he comes to this world, we say that about everyone in this world. It's a kind of meditation about our position in this world. We come into this world empty-handed and we leave empty-handed. But he comes with everything. Even before he comes, it's already his. And the kind of wealth he has is of a different level to what we have, by which we can try to utilize the material world in some way or other. But whatever power and glory, again, he simply uses that for enacting his pastimes, and in enacting his pastimes, he's simply trying to, or he does, please his devotees. So whatever we may have, whatever little power we may have, or wealth, or beauty, whatever position we may have, whatever qualifications we may have, abilities we may have, we should understand it's given by him and it's meant for serving him. Sri can also mean all qualities. So he has unlimited qualities. He is the reservoir of unlimited auspicious qualities. Ananta Kalyana Gunatmako Sau. This is from the Vishnu Purana as quoted in Srila Prabhupada's purport to Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 7, text 24. Srila Ramanujacharya often quotes this in his writings in the form Swabhavik Anavadhikata Shaya Sankhyeya Kalyana Gunagana. He naturally, by his very that's the way he is. He has uncountable, unlimited, a whole reservoir of uncounted, innumerable qualities which are all auspicious and which are meant for all auspiciousness. Shrayate iti Sri, having opulence is the meaning of Sri. Shobha kantihi. So one meaning of this is, Sri, one of the meanings is very beautiful, luster. Ananta Shriya Yasya Saha Ananta-sriha. So he who has an infinitely beautiful countenance and luster. That's another way it may be taken. We find in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining to Sanatana Goswami some of the qualities of Krishna by which he benefits the world. Shri, Laja, Daya, Kirti, Dharya, Vaisharadi, Mati. Aishab Krishna Pratishtita. Shushila Mridu Vadanya Krishna Samanahi Anya. Krishna Kare Jagatera Hit. Shri, here Srila Prabhupada translates this as beauty, although it may have very broad meanings. Here he translates it as beauty. Here he translates Laja as humility. Beauty, humility, mercy, merit, patience, and expert intelligence are all manifested in Krishna. But besides these, Krishna has other qualities like good behavior, mildness, and magnanimity. He also performs welfare activities for the whole world, and this description is particularly meant for Krishna, not for Narayana. How about that? That might make some people upset. Srila Prabhupada in the purport states that, or Srila Prabhupada quotes in his purport, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that the qualities of beauty, humility, mercy, merit, patience, and expert intelligence are brilliant qualities, and when they are exhibited in the person of Narayana, one should know that they are bestowed upon Narayana by Krishna. But Sushila Mridu Vadanya, good behavior, mildness, and magnanimity are found only in Krishna. Only Krishna performs welfare activities for the whole world. So that sounds like a put down of Narayana, but the meaning is that whatever good qualities are seen in Narayana are more manifest in the same Narayana in his original form as Krishna. Ananta-sri. Well, Ananta means, of course, unlimited, uncountable, and Sri is a name for Lakshmi, for Radha. Ananta, we just had the name Ananta-rupa. So he expands himself in innumerable forms. And he is very attached to his wife. In the material world, for transcendentalists, we're told, don't be too much attached to your wife. The wives might not like to hear this, but read the Srimad Bhagavatam or any Upanishadic literature. When we get up to Brahma Gyan, don't be attached to anything, especially to your wife. But this material existence, it is the perverted reflection of spiritual existence, so that we find that in Krishna and Narayana, he is very attached to his wives. Is that right? Well, we find in the Bhagavatam, first canto, that he's not influenced by his wives, even though he seems to be. But that we have to understand, that is from a material perspective. He has no mundane attachment to his wives, but he is very attached to his wives in spiritual love. So he may appear to be like an ordinary man attached to his wives, but that is in spiritual love. So he's very attached to his wife. And he expands himself in innumerable forms. And wherever he goes with his wife. So he has innumerable forms, that means he has innumerable wives also. It's the same wife, just as Narayana is one, but he expands himself in many forms. So there are innumerable Lakshmi forms, and they're all his. This won't go well with the modern way of thinking, in which women are supposed to have independence, but according to the Vedic culture, the wife is of the husband. She as if belongs to the husband. So he has unlimited Shris. He's Ananta-sri. So he is Ananta. He's unlimited in power, glory, might, majesty, knowledge, everything. But a greater quality than having unlimited wealth, power, knowledge, and so on, is that even if he has only one Shri, only one Lakshmi, one Radha, that is more to him than all his wealth, power, knowledge, etc. She's also Ananta in the sense that she has unlimited forms, which she accepts to serve him. She won't leave him alone. My wife just won't leave me alone. People may sometimes, in the beginning they're thinking, I just want to be with my wife all the time. And then after some time, why she just won't leave me alone. So Lakshmi is like that also. She won't leave me alone. Sometimes he rushes off, just like he went to deliver Gajendra. So she got left behind in Vaikuntha. It all happened so quickly, he didn't even stop to put his shoes on. He just rushed out. Gajendra's calling. But she follows him wherever he goes. And he's very happy. He's very happy for that. So she's unlimited in number and unlimited in potency. Even by her shadow expansion, Durga, she, as a representative of the Supreme Lord, creates, maintains and destroys the whole material world. Shrishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Sadhana, Shaktire, Ka, female form. Chayeva yasya bhuvanani bibharti Durga. Ichhana rupam api yasya chacheshtate sa govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The shadow potency of the Supreme Lord, who is a manifestation of Lakshmi, she is Durga, she's a shadow manifestation of Lakshmi for creating, maintaining and destroying the material world. So the original form of Lakshmi has unlimited power, but she subordinates herself to Ananta. Ananta, Lakshmi, Radha, subordinates herself to Ananta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or, if we want to get into disputation, it may be said by some that he only becomes unlimitedly powerful because of her, not round the other way. I started this talk by saying we can hardly imagine what it means, infinity, unlimitedness. We can hardly imagine. This material creation seems unlimited. If you have to walk to the other side of Hyderabad, you're saying, phew, that's a long way to walk. That would take you all day. If you have to walk to the other side of Hyderabad. What if you have to walk to Tibet? Nowadays you can't go, but it used to be people would walk to Tibet. There'd be no other way to go. If you want to go, let's say how you have to go. How long would it take you to walk from Hyderabad to Lhasa? Difficult to go. And that's only within a small part of this planet. So this whole creation seems to us to be unlimited. How long does it last? What do the scientists say? With Big Bang, how long ago was it? What do they say? 1 billion? How many billions of years ago? Whatever. Can we imagine 1 billion years? We can hardly. How long will it last? Of course, they all have different theories. They say at some point the sun will run out of energy, and then everything will freeze. There are different theories. They all have different theories. To be an astrophysicist means na savrishe yasya matang na bhinnam. They don't know what's going on, and they talk big words as if they do know what's going on, but they don't, as is seen by, they're all having different theories. But who can imagine if this world is going to, this universe is going to last for 1 billion years? It seems unlimited, it seems ananta, but as we learn from the Bhagavatam, that Ananta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Ananta, as well as Sankarshan, because of his ability to destroy the whole creation by the blazing fire from his mouth. He is Ananta, and he shows that this material world is not Ananta, it's not unlimited, by destroying it with fire from his mouth. Have you ever seen fire coming from anyone's mouth? Has anyone seen that? No one's seen it? People do it in India also. In England it's quite popular. I don't know exactly how they do it. They put some petrol in their mouth and then they blow out, and someone puts a flame, so they blow out fire. I think I've seen it in India somewhere, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's sometimes on Harinam Sankirtan in London, some people used to attack us like that. They didn't like it, so they'd attack us blowing fire. Portobello Road, London, 1970s. So anyway, he doesn't have to put petrol in his mouth. It's already in his mouth because the whole universe is within his mouth. Of course, it's in crude oil form, whatever oil is there. So he blows fire from his mouth and destroys the whole universe. He is Ananta. This universe is Ashri. It possesses any real wealth, beauty, opulence. But he is Ananta-sri. There's no actual opulence, wealth, power, glory, or anything of any value in this material world. But he possesses all that is desirable in unlimited quantities. Therefore he is known as Ananta-sri. That's the end of this talk. It's not unlimited. It could be, we could go on forever, but I'm going to stop here. Hare Krishna. Any question, comment, protest, please say it now.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So my question is not from like today's class, but
Does anyone have a question from today's class?
little bit related to it.
Yeah, you can always relate it. You can take one word from the class and
Because
twist
this,
it around. And
this
does
question,
anyone have a question from the class related to the class? Let's stick to the topic, at least first of all. No. Okay, go ahead.
so just like we say from this mantra, Ram Ram Rameti Mano Rame Manorame, Sahasranam Tattulyam Ram Nam Varanane. So thousands name of Lord Vishnu is equal to one name of Lord Ram. But on the other hand, we see that all the incarnations comes from Kshirodaksai Vishnu. So that means Lord Ram is also coming from
Yeah, well,
Kshirodaksai.
Kshirodaksai Vishnu comes from the Chaturvyuha, who are Vasudev, Sankarsana, Rama, Balaram. Yeah, anyway. They come through the agency. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that if the president of a country goes to another country, he'll stay in the embassy of that country. Maybe nowadays they don't do this. Say if someone is going from, nowadays they may not do this, but it says the King of England goes from Britain to America, then he stays in the British embassy in America. Then he comes out from the British embassy. So it's as if he's coming from the ambassador. But actually he's superior to the ambassador. But he comes through the agency of the ambassador. That's all.
So another question, like
It's we just have to accept it. You can't go and measure Narayana. You can bring your different scientific instruments. Some things you have to accept on the basis of Shastra. That's all.
like sometimes some
Don't
devotees
be
say,
too scientific. Science won't measure God.
some devotee says that Lord Ram has 62 qualities.
Which devotees?
Like his grace, like some devotees from ISKCON Maharaj.
Yeah, I know, but which devotees? I mean, do the Bhakta Samir or something just joined yesterday?
In the lecture of His Grace Radhesyam Prabhu, I heard that Lord Ram has 62 qualities.
Okay, well, I'm not aware of this. You ask Radhesham. Prabhu, because I'm not aware of this. Okay? Hare Krishna. We'll finish there. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.